Hello, this is Brent the Climate Guru, and I'd like to discuss today the damage to Gaza's natural systems, infrastructure, farmland, and so on from the Israeli bombing and invasion. Before I do that, I'd like to explain that I wholly condemn Hamas's invasion of Israel, October 7, 2023. They brutally, in the most sadistic way, killed 1,200 Israelis, took almost 300 Israelis hostage in Gaza, and I support Israel's desire and efforts to reduce or eliminate Hamas. I do not condone the way that much of the war has taken place, particularly the killing and injuries to many civilians in Gaza. What's happened in Gaza because of the war has destroyed infrastructure, farmland, water supplies, housing. It's caused a total collapse of Gaza's infrastructure, sewage treatment plants, waste disposal, waste management, and groundwater has been contaminated by toxins and munitions. This is what's known as ecocide, the widespread long-term severe damage to a natural environment. And it's displaced people, destroyed housing, destroyed infrastructure. A large amount of the soils in Gaza have been damaged. Groundwater has been contaminated by toxins and munitions. Israel has degraded Gaza by uprooting trees. Gaza was the center of a huge amount of farming and orchards. The trees have been uprooted and contaminated by toxins, munitions, heavy bombing, and demolition. 50 million tons of debris and hazardous materials, including tens of thousands of bombs and human remains, are in Gaza as a result of the war. By December of 24, 170,000 buildings, 69% of the buildings in Gaza have been destroyed. That number increases. Israel Army destroyed water wells in North Gaza. Agriculture and wildlife have been destroyed from the war. Before October 7th, 66 miles of Gaza was farmland and orchards. This is 40% of Gaza's total land area. By February of 24, the military in Israel destroyed 38% of Gaza's farms and orchards. Israel used tractors, tanks, and vehicles to uproot orchards and field crops. There were 2,000 agricultural sites, greenhouses, and farms that have been destroyed. In North Gaza, 70% of the water wells have been destroyed. By October of 24, 68% of Gaza's fields have been destroyed. Human Rights Watch confirmed that the Israeli army used white phosphorus in Gaza, which will have very negative long-term effects on agricultural land. White phosphorus contaminates soil, water, and air. 40% of Gaza's gas, water, and other sanitation facilities were damaged in the first 3 months of the war. Shutdown of sewage treatment plants resulted in 130,000 cubic meters of untreated sewage discharged daily into the Mediterranean. In the 972 magazine, published by many Israelis, said the Israeli efforts have pushed Gaza's population to the brink. 1 in 10 Gazans have no access to drinking water, and the Israeli army has destroyed 719 water wells since October of 2023. The Israeli occupation has destroyed more than 64 water wells in Gaza City. The public water system has collapsed. And 90% of the private and public desalination stations have stopped operating, often as a result of lack of fuel. Israel cut off the remaining electricity supply to Gaza, forcing the city's largest desalination plants to scale down operation. A lot of this is because of the lack of fuel that is supplied by Israel that it began to eliminate. Israel shut down delivery of water in Gaza from an Israeli company that supplied 70% of the water. In April 4th, Israel bombed the desalination plant for the third time, and that supplied much water to North Gaza. 85% of freshwater sources have been destroyed, forcing residents to use polluted and unhealthy water. Israel has rendered Gaza's land as unusable. In the southernmost city of Gaza, Rafah, In April of 25, after resuming the assault on Gaza, the Israelis took control of Gaza and destroyed more than 50,000 housing units, 90% of it in residential neighborhoods. Israel's aim is to flatten Gaza's remaining buildings, particularly in Rafah, turn it into rubble, just a buffer zone where there's the crossing into Egypt. The southeast part of Rafah is no more. It's completely flat. Most of the destruction of buildings was not during combat, but rather flattening by bulldozer and other equipment to prevent the return of Palestinians. This widely deployed method of destruction in Gaza has been unbearable. The United Nations reported that 69% of all buildings in Gaza have been damaged, 245,000 units and 70,000 completely destroyed, many of it using Caterpillar bulldozers and explosives. The widely deployed method of destruction in Gaza is to make Gaza unlivable for Palestinians.